Our last subtitle for today is Sumner versus Brooks. So, echoing the tension that's going on in Bleeding Kansas right now over the Kansas-Nebraska Act, tension is also increasing in Congress between the pro-slavery forces in the South and the anti-slavery forces in the North. And this all comes to a head with one major event. So, Charles Sumner was an ardent abolitionist. He was very much leading the abolitionist cause and firmly for abolition. He's from Massachusetts, which again is kind of the heart of the anti-slavery movement. And he gets up in Congress one day and he reads an account of all of the horrors of slavery to the Congress. And this actually goes on for 2 days. And he gives a lot of explicit references to things that are happening and blames some of the congressmen themselves for perpetuating these horrors. And he made some personal attacks against 2 congressmen in particular, Stephen A. Douglas and a man named Butler, who was from South Carolina. And he likens them to, if you're familiar with this work, Don Quixote, with Butler being kind of the champion of anti-slavery forces, and Douglas, his loyal squire, riding beside him. So this is insulting, and actually several people tell him not to make these personal attacks, but he does so anyway. He makes this speech, and a few days later, Butler, being horribly offended, enlists a relative of his, Brooks, Preston Brooks, from South Carolina. And Preston Brooks, to get revenge on what Sumner has said about his relative, Butler, he takes his cane and beats Sumner over the head with it. Not just once. Sumner is actually sitting down at his desk writing, and Brooks comes up behind him and smacks him on the back of the head with the cane. Sumner apparently jumps out of his seat and shatters the desk, tipping it over, but Brooks continues to beat him over the head over and over and over again until Sumner is totally unconscious. So this is a horrible incident, and Congress is appalled by this violence, as are the general people. Sumner he does survive this attack, but he takes 3 years to recover. And as kind of a recognition of what happened to him, his seat in Congress is left vacant by the Massachusetts delegation, and he as a reminder of what happened to Sumner. Brooks is forced to resign from Congress, but he is then reelected by South Carolina and praised all over South Carolina and much of the South as a hero. He's actually sent 100 canes for his so-called brave gesture. Of course, he smacked someone on the back of the head. I don't know if I would call that brave, but the North is absolutely horrified, not only by this incident, but also by the praise that Brooks gets from the South for doing so. So we can see now the tension between the North and South is at a breaking point, and this pushes the country just another step further towards war. Congressmen start arming themselves to go to Congress, and the North and South are both starting to agree that this is going to end up in war if nothing is done.